Hello, my name is Tingey. I'm a down-tempo electronic artist who has been writing and performing music for about a decade. I currently teach music at a UK secondary school. I'm very interested in philosophy, social change and the music industry. In this video I'm going to explore how we could grow and innovate the electronic music industry by making the music itself more rooted in issues relating to social change. Research by Dr. Tammy Anderson suggests that the Plur doctrine of peace, love, unity and respect, which was originally ingrained in rave subculture, has become diluted due to EDM growing so popular and rave culture becoming more mainstream. Therefore, I think it's more important than ever for us as an industry to discuss which values we want to promote on this huge global dance floor, both now and in the future. First, I'm going to talk about what social change is and why the electronic music industry should take an interest in it. Then I'll discuss why electronic music is such a good vehicle for involving the youth in our quest to build a peaceful, aware and mentally engaged society. Finally, I'll propose a creative model that will enable socially charged electronic music to thrive, which involves fusing EDM with the conceptual and dramatic storytelling elements of musical theatre. So firstly, what is social change? Cliff Notes defines it as any significant alteration over time in behaviour patterns and cultural values and norms. Let's look at how music has interacted with social change in the past. Peter Seeger wrote songs about workers' rights, war and environmental change. During the civil rights movement, we had protest songs by James Brown, Aretha Franklin, Stevie Wonder, Marvin Gaye, Bob Marley and Public Enemy. In rock, Rage Against the Machine did Killing in the Name, NWA did Fuck the Police, Pearl Jam stomped on a mask of George Bush on stage, and Black Sabbath pictured Bush with Hitler captioning it, "Same shit, different arsehole." What springs to mind for me are John Lennon's Imagine and Nina Simone's Strange Fruit and Bono's Do They Know It's Christmas Time and Michael Jackson's Earth Song, Four Non-Blondes' What's Going On. There are several more recent examples like Macklemore's Same Love, or Kendrick Lamar's album To Pimp a Butterfly, or Lorde advocating feminism, or Beyoncé dressing up as a Black Panther activist at the 2016 Super Bowl, and Lady Gaga bringing sexual assault survivors on stage during a performance of Till It Happens to You at the 2016 Oscars. Thus, artists are using their fame as a platform to make things change, raising both awareness and money for the issue that they support. So as we have seen, historically, music has been incredibly helpful in influencing social change. Perhaps it is the ethereality of music that makes it a good vehicle for conveying complex social messages. But why should we do this? In a speech to Berkeley faculty, Cornel West asked, "What kind of human being are you going to choose to be while you make your music?" He also said, "It doesn't matter how much your cymbals tingle or your bass booms if you're not fighting for social justice." Further, the Marxist view on art is that it's the writer's obligation to articulate the interests and the needs of the ascending class. Now, let's look at what's gone on so far with electronic music and social change. Quoting Anderson again, "Raves have historically referred to grassroots organised, anti-establishment and unlicensed all-night dance parties. With its revolutionary beginnings in mind, one might expect that electronic music has social change built into it. However, there are several hurdles here. Firstly, a lot of electronic music has little or no lyrics, except the occasional one-line vocal sample, so it's hard to get social messages across in the words. Secondly, electronic music has long been associated with hedonism and escapism. Maybe dance music is more likely to pacify the masses than mobilise them towards any kind of revolutionary action. I like the way Reddit blogger J. Kodak puts this. Political EDM sounds like a contradiction, right? However, despite these difficulties, Curtis Rhodes, in his book Composing Electronic Music, argues that there is no reason why one could not create a piece that sounded fascinating, interacted with the audience, and was also motivated by a novel conceptual strategy and served as a vehicle for social change. I have found many examples of people in the electronic music industry doing things for social change, including Mark Lawrence with #SafeandSound, Mark Netto, who increases AIDS awareness with Independencesa.org and Dance for Life, the Electronic Music Alliance, who set industry-wide ethical standards and environmental responsibilities, the non-profit Give a Beat, who support the creation of youth development programmes, Bass Nectar, who openly advocates for free press and net neutrality and supports hunger relief and youth empowerment with his organisation Conscious Alliance. However, I've found much less information on social change within the music itself. I'm sure that there are some electronic protest songs out there, but overall it seems that they are either rare or hard to find. Finally, I found a Reddit blog in which the author, J. Kodak, writes, "Like Destroyed, Belane's themes have deep political undertones that accompany it, but unlike Destroyed's overarching theme of the proletariat rising up to destroy a corrupt ruling class, Belane's themes are more specific, more immediate. Electronic music is just so popular now that it can be massively influential in the societal changes that occur for this generation and the next. Pulse notes, it's been said that EDM is taking over the music world, and that Generation Y has unquestionably attached itself to EDM and claims the genre as its own. Mark Knight on Insomniac.com says, you only have to scan the charts to see that around 50% of the music is electronic. Cassettes Won't Listen on Insomniac.com says, now we got 8-year-olds making tracks on their iPhones that could easily set the dance floor on fire. If this accessibility of tools to create music doesn't push this genre further, I don't know what will. As Anderson says, as the EDM scene has expanded, it has attracted new groups of people and created new genres of music, identities and behaviours. So we must ask ourselves, what do we, as an industry, want to inspire in these young people? Maybe it would be a good start to instruct them in epistemology, which is what we know and how we know it. And maybe this could help them navigate this overwhelming plethora of data that we never had to deal with when we were growing up. But anyway, whatever we decide to teach them, we've got to do it in a really cool way, because being patronising or didactic is just going to backfire. But how exactly are we going to involve electronic music in this complex area of social change? The model I propose for doing this is by borrowing the narrative, emotional and dramatic elements of musical theatre and using this in live and recorded electronic music. What's already happening in live electronic music is already amazing. An abundance of visual stimuli, including light shows, dancers, costumes, VJs, circus performers, projection mapping, smoke, messages popping up on screens and sampled snippets of video footage and trippy 3D objects dancing about and complex and colourful stage design. This is all working together to capture the imagination of the youth. So why not add a story and a concept to this? Something with meaning, development, intellectual content. This approach is just not mainstream yet, and it would need a lot more investment to become so from the industry as a whole. So essentially what I'm suggesting is to make this new genre take off, and once it has, to give it to the youth as a platform on which their own visions can take place. To clarify, I'm saying that one way of achieving growth and innovation in the electronic music industry is by adding characters and a narrative to live sets, making it easier to bring up social change issues in the actual music itself. It will be just as fun and immersive, but it will also be a vehicle for ideas. So what ideas? We could do anything. I mean, for example, the first electronic musical I wrote was called The Unexamined Life, and it's about the Greek philosopher Socrates, who is sentenced to death for corrupting the youth. In terms of the live show, I want the audience to feel like they are in an electrified version of Athens, so I can use this platform to infuse philosophical concepts of Greek antiquity into their minds of the next generation, encouraging them to think critically, as I feel that's really important for the future of humanity. I did develop this idea with a target market in mind. Shows like Glee have made musical theatre seem cooler to younger people, and simultaneously, at least half the top 40 in both England and America is electronic dance music, so this generation who are growing up surrounded by both musical theatre and electronic music will eventually become my audience and my collaborators. I'm not talking about normal cheesy musical theatre with jazz hands. I'm just looking to take the best parts of more modern works for inspiration. Fusion of electronic music with other genres has been done extensively, and fusion of musical theatre with other genres has been done extensively too. There are rock musicals, jazz musicals, heavy metal musicals, funk musicals, so why have electronic musicals not been done yet? The fusing of these genres could connect the youth to long-lost fountains of knowledge. Also, finally, I was thinking I could dub this genre ravicals or something else really exciting like that. In conclusion, I have a vision that I think could grow and innovate the electronic music industry and could also involve the youth in its evolution. I'm just a musician, a creator and an educator, but I like to delegate and I love collaborating. Obviously, I'm going to need a lot of help from different places to achieve this vision. So, if anything I've said today has resonated with you, then please do get in touch and maybe we can collaborate. I've already bought my ticket to IMS Ibiza, so I'll see you there either way for sure. Thanks so much for listening.